High Voltage. I am your host. I am best-selling international author MacKenzie Nelson. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today, whether you are listening through iTunes or Spotify, or you're catching me in video live and in person on YouTube. So many different ways for you to catch up on my life since I published my book, My Father's Feathers, A Journey of Transformation and Healing, one feather at a time, last September. This show is all about giving you updates and additional insights into what I wrote about in my book. Things that I have picked up along my extensive life journey that I will be celebrating, as tomorrow, September 23rd, is my birthday. So we just got back from a trip to Galena, Illinois, which is a few hours away from us. I am in Peoria, and for the past 5 years, my husband and I, we have birthdays a few weeks apart in the fall, so it's been our tradition to go and celebrate at a bed and breakfast in Galena, Illinois, and I so enjoyed the rest and rejuvenation. And if anything you get out of this show, if you are married or if you've been with your significant other for any amount of time and have never really focused on just the two of you and investing in that time and money just to get away and, experience somewhere new or somewhere you used to go and maybe you stop, maybe, life's demands and the demands of your workload and the rigorous schedule that sometimes you're held to as adults and the demands of life get in the way. So take time out to connect with your significant other. It is well worth the investment. And for this show, it's impromptu. It's just me. It's always me on this show, just sharing my journey, hoping to infuse you and inject you with, if anything else, that life is short, right? Coming up on my birthday, this is my dash, right? My dash between when I'm born and when I'm leaving this earth. And how am I using my time? What am I doing with that precious time that is not guaranteed? And when you live life with this fact, there is a day we are born and a day we depart from this earth. And it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It can be a celebrated thing. And I'm all about perspective and how we're looking at certain things. The fact that we have a temporary existence in this sphere called Earth should not be something that scares us, right? Yes, there's a huge mystery that we all should be exploring, and that's part of the journey, right? Figuring out we all have our own opinions on why we're here or what we're supposed to do. But if you're anything like me, earlier on in my life, I didn't contemplate that very often. It was actually something when I thought about, God, or I thought about, oh boy, what comes after this? It was overwhelming and scary. And I was like, I don't even want to go there. But now, at this point in my journey, through a chronic health battle, being estranged from my maternal side of my family for 5 years, being excluded, being mistreated and bullied by them for most of my life, finally waking up to the reality that I'm who God says I am. That even if your own family doesn't love you or doesn't say you're worth having in their lives, God loves you. And there are so many people out there in this big world. Sometimes you can just get stuck with the same people. And what if those people are not for you? What if they're not supportive? What if they're not kind? And a lot of that boils down, when people say, and I hear it, I don't like people. I don't know, what gets you so excited to connect to someone. I don't like people. You know what I think? I think it starts with yourself. If you don't like other people and you kind of roll your eyes when you have to be in public or you have to go interact with someone, that's starting somewhere. Why do you feel that way? Because people have let you down and people have hurt you? So read my book. I've been let down. I've been hurt. I have just seen my life from a new perspective that God has given me. And amidst the heartbreak, the pain, the grittiness of getting kicked over and over in life, there is a peace that passes this understanding that surpasses. You can feel held, you can feel loved, you can feel contentment, even though your life is not at all what you thought it would be or doesn't look like you thought it would look, or you're hurting, or you're going through something so hard that you feel like nobody else will ever understand. God sees you, He knows you, and He wants to hold your hand while you walk this out, and to let you know that there is a spiritual realm. There is another world besides the physical one. I know because I see it. I have seen it, and I continue to see it. There is so much more to this world than meets your eyes. And if you want, you get access to that by birthright. God created you. And if you're curious, you just ask, right? Seek. All you have to do is seek Him out, and you will know, and He will connect with you in a way and speak to you in a way that He knows will impact you the most. Well, while we were in Galena this weekend, like I said, we had a great time. It was just my husband and I. Shout out to my mother and father-in-law for taking my son Lincoln and my daughter Nevada, who are 6 and 12. It was homecoming weekend here, and thank you to the amazing friendships that my son has built. You know, he was being run around with his friends all weekend, and my daughter as well. They did not skip a beat while we were gone. So we have a huge, I feel like, support system. Although it's not my family personally, my husband's mom and dad are very supportive, and so are a lot of other people in our community that we have been blessed that our children have chosen great friends to run with, and their parents are the best of the best. Like, you couldn't ask for more sincere people to walk life out with. So thank you, if any of you are tuning in, so much for making my kids' weekend so special, even though I was not here. So during our time in Galena, our favorite place is Galena Cellars. It's a winery, and they'll always have like someone playing some music so you can try different wines, see which one you like. And they have 2 different levels. So we were on the main floor, and we'd gotten there right at 5, and there was this 2-man band. One guy in this really cool like tropical shirt, and the guy next to him who looked like he was more, you know, the guy with the tropical shirt was like the vocalist, the keyboard. The guy next to him was more like the guitar. And like the guy in the floral shirt looks over and he says, and we're at a table very close by, so I can hear him, you know, telling his friend, like, he's smiling, but what he's saying is, has it really come to this, Chuck? And I don't remember if that was the guy's name. It was a name, but I don't know if it was Chuck. Anyways, he's like, has it really, you know, come to this? And I could tell, like, and could feel that they were used to playing much larger venues. And they were very disappointed with, you know, you could tell, like, oh man, you know, they're older guys. They've been playing for a while, and now here they are, me and my husband and probably like 5 other people in this big space. And you could tell they weren't really excited about, you know. So I start talking them up. I'm like, man, we're real excited to hear you, you know, try to be encouraging. And he's like, oh, I like her already. And I said, don't worry. What I heard in my mind was standing room only. And that's what I said. I said, don't worry. I was like, soon it will be standing room only in here. Well, no truer words had been spoken as a 55th high school reunion starts to pour in. And before we know it, I felt like my husband and I were like crashing this 55th high school reunion. It was the coolest thing ever. And the feeling in the room was just genuine excitement, community, happiness to be together. It was palpable. I could feel the Holy Spirit at work in the room, because I know what he feels like. The arms, you know, have you ever had like the hairs on your arm just stand up? And it's like, that's what he feels like, only it's like a warm hug on top of it, for me anyways. And I could just feel the genuine joy. And each person had a little name tag on with their name and then their high school picture. So this was like, oh man, 55 years ago. So it was some really cute hairstyles, right? Like you had like the beehive looks, and you had, so I'm just like looking around at all the name tags, and they start talking to me like I'm one of their own. And one of the men, you know, says, you know, we're all still very close, this class. And it just really spoke to me. And he said, you know, perhaps that's the key to it all, right? And it gave me chills, just that communal vibe that this class so clearly had intact 55 years ago and has maintained in the time since then, in that duration, in that span of time, they've stayed tight. They've stayed close. So I want to know what this is about. So as we sit there and sample our wine, I'm just having these conversations with these various, members of this class, and they just keep getting better and better. And sure enough, I look over and the musician's like, standing room only. And you can see his smile on his face is like manifesting, like how happy he feels. Like it's almost like the old times have been returned to him, through this high school reunion of playing to packed crowds. As he explained, we used to be a 4-man band, and then we were a 3, and now we're a 2. And, you could tell that there was so much more to the story. And these are the things I'm interested in, people's stories. Like, what happened? How do you feel about that now? And how has that changed things? And anyways, I don't know if I'll ever get to hear that part of the story, but standing room only really stuck with me as I walked out and I saw the words for this show, for this. I knew standing room only was going to be this episode. And what I want to relay to you about standing room only is that's what God wants to do for you in your life. He wants to fill it until it is overflowing, until your life is quite literally so abundant that it is standing room only. He's gonna cram so much abundance, so much joy, contentment, so many fulfilling relationships. He wants to bring all of that to you if you find yourself lonely, disconnected, like your own one-man island. This is not how you were intended to live out your life. If people have burned you, join the club. I have been burned over and over, and I will continue, I'm sure, no doubt, for the rest of my life to be burned in one way or another. That is this life in this world. We will have suffering, but be of good cheer. For Jesus overcame it all, friend, for us. He showed us that the path to fulfillment and overflow in your life comes when you are willing, like he did, to sacrifice the things you thought you needed to hold on to, the dreams maybe somebody else put on you as a kid. He has better ones for you. So when you really just resign yourself, you surrender everything you think is important, your dreams, your finances, and you really pray into that, and you're really honoring and seeking to, have him tell you what he made you for, what he uniquely designed you for. Heaven is unleashed in your life. And despite your circumstances, which is what my book is about, the human condition, we all go through so much pain. We get let down, we get hurt. But perspective is what is the definitive catch-all, the make or break in every person's life. How do you see your suffering? What lens are you looking at it through? And that's gonna change and evolve, right? As time goes on, as you move through certain scenarios and situations, as you mature, as you choose better reactions, and as you stay focused on the things that you can control, not the things that are out of your control. That's what God's for. And when you release the things you have no control over and surrender them, instead of just letting them go on like a washing cycle in your head, stealing your time, your moments, your energy, you can take those and give him to them. And it's not super easy at first. It's not. It's something you get in a habit of doing. Every time that thought pops into your head about that thing you can't control, God, I'm going to give it to you again. God, I'm going to give it to you again. And the longer you do this for, I've been doing it now for like 5 years, especially with my family. I can't control that they choose not to have me in their life. And every time they pop in, holidays, birthdays, running into them in the same town, just over time, it's gotten, easier for me because I keep just saying, I can't control that. I can't, this is how they think of me, and there's nothing I can do. I've communicated, I've prayed. This is God's territory, not mine. And as hard as that is, there's so much joy. There's so much contentment. Like this weekend I spent with my husband and Galena, standing room only. I felt him say to me, and he keeps bringing that to me in my life. I've met so many supportive, kind women along my journey that have really shown me what family means, right? I didn't get that growing up in my household, but God does have that experience for you, even later in life, in ways that you don't expect, but you'll miss that if you don't turn and ask Him to help you out. Surrender the things you cannot control and keep in that perspective. Not every day is going to be as easy to do that. Some days are going to be so hard, but He is there too. Even on the days where you're like, meh, I'm just over this. Because I have those too, where I'm just like, God, oh, this is so hard. But guess what? With each new day, new mercies He bestows on us, new wisdom, new insights. So maybe today is not your day and it's not the thing you've been praying about. But what about what you have right in front of you? Your husband, your kids, right? Why are we going to let a few things that are happening in your life that are so hard, spoil the rest? You don't have to. There is a way that they can all flow together. So trust God, surrender, allow Him fully into your heart and into your life and to direct your path. And your life, friend, will be standing room only. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I am going to have a blast celebrating my birthday tomorrow. All right, I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks again.